All right, so I'm not quite sure what happened to the audio for this footage. So we're going to do a voiceover and hopefully I remember to say the things that I said in the video. The Wonderland222 planner in a size A6 is the planner I will be using for this year. I feel like the A6 size is the better size than the weeks for my situation right now. I will also be pairing it with the bullet journal that I was showing you. Um, at we'll just start right here at the beginning. I'm telling you right here that you need to use your stickers, and because they do go bad, your washi tape does go bad. So use your stuff. And so I decided to sticker up my planners and use them. And so I'm explaining here that I had set it all out to do a 12-month birthday setup on the key and index page because I don't typically use the key or index pages. And then I noticed that the pen that I chose to use was bleeding through the paper. I forgot to do a pen test with this particular brush pen. And so I used the washi tape to cover up the other sides bleeding through, but then it covered up February, May, and August. And I'm not sure if I feel like relabeling those or not. So for now, I'm leaving them until it bothers me too much, and then I'll figure out what to do then. The other side is my solution for the bleed through. I used stickers and covered up all the bleeding through, but this is the rest of the index pages, and I'm going to use it as a memories page. And so for each month, I'm going to put like that month's biggest or favorite memory or memories. I haven't decided if I'm going to use photos or draw it or write it, but somehow I'm going to put memories in here. This next page I haven't set up yet, but this is the year calendars and future log or future calendars. There's calendars all the way through like 2026 in here, but I'm not going to use all that. So I'm waiting for us to go buy some ink for our printer. I'm going to print off the emoji calendar that Helen from the Coffee Monsters Co. gives out to her Facebook group every year, and use that and just do a this year thing. This page is the yearly log or year at a glance page. I never know what to do with these pages, but this year I'm going to try and highlight when we travel. And so anytime we go out of town, either me or my husband or both of us together goes out of town, I'm going to put it here. And then I thought it would be fun to see how often we got to travel this year. I might add some other things too. I'm just not sure yet, but traveling is the one thing I know I'm going to do. Also, if you've noticed the stain on my hand, it's hair dye. Um, so the reason I bought this planner in the first place was because of the quarterly layout that they have in here. I thought it would be a really good place to track my YouTube growth because while this is a for fun YouTube and it's a way to share and get a community, I'm also hoping that there's some income from it at some point because it would be great for it to pay some of the medical bills, or even if it just uh, you know, reimbursed for the materials used in videos because it can add up. But I thought this would be a great way to track when I'm filming something, when I'm editing something, and when I post something, and to see numbers of subscribers and views and stuff like that. After that is the habit tracking pages. There was a lot of space up above this first page and I wasn't quite sure what to do with it. So I, again, used my stickers. See, there's a theme. I'm going to use my stickers to decorate it and make it cozy looking. Right here, I'm explaining that there's a space under every single month. So instead of just tracking 10 things, you could track up to, I think, 14, I think, when I counted. I'm not 100% sure. But basically, you can track more than the space they gave you. Here I'm explaining that I like to use these metal copper tabs from Midori instead of using paper tabs because paper tabs and I have a bad history of accidentally ripping them off and messing up my planners, so we don't use those anymore. Um, I forget who showed them on YouTube the first time that I saw, but I did find them from a YouTuber and bought them from JetPens, and I use those instead. This is the monthly page, and another thing I kind of like about this planner is that the months are with the weeks. The Hobonichi has all of the months up front and all together, which is nice, but I also tend to like having them for the weeks too. So we're going to try it this way this year. But in order to get to each month quickly, I did put a little color of washi tape on each month. It's a different color for each month. Just so when I'm flipping through, I can find the month pages faster. And again, I don't want to do real tabs. So this was my solution. I'm trying to show you the different colors. They're a little hard to see on camera, but when I'm looking at the notebook, I can see them pretty clearly. So I'm pointing one of the colors out to you now. This is really weird because I don't know what I'm saying. Okay, this is the daily page cover page because again, I like things to be pretty, and if they're not pretty, I'm not going to use them. This is the weeks page and how the week looks. They do have stacked weekends in this planner. I do believe Wonderland222 came out with unstacked planners this year, but I really like the vertical and didn't care about the stacking because I don't typically plan the same for the weekends that I do during the weekday, so the stacking doesn't bother me. I think we're going to go back to the daily pages. Yeah. Okay, so the one I bought isn't the full. I think they have one that has like the full daily pages, like a page a day. I didn't want to do that, and so I have this backup over here in my bullet journal that I'm going to use when I run out of daily pages. If you notice that I flipped my planner upside down, I do that because I like to decorate the covers and I wanted both books in one cover and I didn't want to put the front cover of the book in the pocket. And so I did it upside down, which works because then I can just flip it to then write on the pages that I want to because I don't like writing opposite when it's got the back or when the front cover is in the pocket. I don't know if that made sense. I'm sorry. Here I'm showing you that I'm going to track my monthly TBRs and that I have a Costco pricing list. Every time we go to Costco, it's quite a large receipt and a large amount to pay for. So what I started doing is writing down the prices of everything that we bought regularly. And so when we go each month, we make a list based off of this master list so that I have an idea of what the trip is going to cost us and it doesn't like freak me out. But that's my main everyday carry for 2024. The next notebook I'm going to show you is what I'm doing for my health tracker this year. So instead of having all of it together, I'm separating the two. I wasn't going to originally, but we went to a Highland festival here in Oklahoma, and I loved this leather vendor's stuff. And he had some notebooks like this, and his wife had embroidered this piece, and they combined it, and it was great. I fell in love with the cover. It was only like $35, I think, but it was really, really pretty to me. However, it's an odd size, and so I'm already having difficulty finding replacement notebooks for it because instead of being a regular pocket that's 5 by 5 by 3 and a half, or 5 and a half by 3 and a half, it's 5 and a half by 3 1/4. And so the notebook that's in it is what I'm going to have to use for now, and it's not my favorite, but I couldn't find a notebook to replace it with. So just rolling with it. However, I did try one of my old, yeah, here I'm going to get it. I did try an old pocket moleskin and had to cut the front cover and back cover a little bit to get it to fit into the cover, and it did fit. This was an old notebook that I bought for something and it didn't end up working, and I still had it laying around, so I decided to make it a guinea pig. But I don't love the idea of when I archive the notebook that it's going to have a piece of the front cover missing and a piece of the back cover missing. And even when I do put it in, if you see that there's an overhang with this notebook, there's not going to be any overhang in this notebook. And so it's going to sit very flush with the leather cover itself, which doesn't bother me. What's going to bother me more is having the front and back cover cut when I archive it. So I'll have to come up with a solution for that, unless I can find a cover or a notebook that fits this cover better. But I really like the cover and I'm determined to use it, so we're gonna make it work. Oh, the other thing I liked about this cover is the inside is lined with a really pretty fabric. I thought that was a really neat idea to encase the embroidery in front. One of the other reasons why I don't love the notebook that's in it is because it's a lined notebook and my preference is grid or dot grid, mostly grid, but grid or dot grid. But there's a little cover page and I went ahead and drew out all 12 months because that's not something that I loved doing when I did bullet journaling. I hated drawing out the months every month. So I drew them all at once and I'm going to use stickers to date them and used washi tape to designate each month. And then I'm going to draw out the weeks, I guess, every week. We'll see if this works. I may be buying like a Moleskine pocket and just cutting things off. Anyway, we'll see. I'm really determined to make it work, so we'll see how determined I am as the year goes on. But I do have a bunch of stickers to use, and so it's another reason to use my stickers. After the months, I did put a medications list so that I could write out all the medications that I'm taking, because the idea for this is that I take my current planner with me to the doctors every time I go to write notes in, to show them patterns of triggers, different symptoms I'm having and when I'm having them and what I think affects it. And so this is the notebook that I'm planning to take with me to the doctor's visits. So it's going to have all my medications listed. I'm going to put my doctors all in it with all of their phone numbers because I'm always having to Google them because I don't keep up with their numbers in my phone. I really should, but I don't. And so I gave a couple pages for that, and then I counted out 52 weekly pages. Once again, I made a cover page because I like to decorate. And so I'm going to use this layout, I think. And I only did the one, but I'm going to go back and do a month at a time, just again, so I don't have to do it every single week. But it's another way to use stickers. And I think this will be a good layout to write down my symptoms and make notes about different things. I went ahead, like I said, and counted them all out and then put a tab where they end. And so if there's any other information or research or things I want to add, I can put that in the back. Moving on, these two journals I use currently, but will also use next year. This first one is the 5-year Techo from Hobonichi. It is, again, an A6 size because the A5 size is too much. But I love this little journal. It's a really cool idea, and I've been the most consistent with this method of journaling. Normally, I am very, very inconsistent. Here I'm showing you that it's, one day on a page for 5 years, and I think that's a really cool concept to go back and look at a day and see how I did on that day over 5 years' time. I am a little behind in it because while I have been the most consistent in this journal, the last half of September was pretty rough, and so I didn't fill out as many pages in September, and I missed a part of October as well, so I need to go back and back journal in it. I do keep enough notes in my other planners and things to fill it in, so I'm not too worried. I just need to go do it. But up until then, I hadn't missed more than like a day or two and was real easy to go back and fill in. This is also a fun journal for me because it's how I'm using my fountain pens and fountain ink. I don't always use those in my planners because of smudging and smearing and needing it to dry. That's my blotter for my fountain pens. And this has just been a really fun, enjoyable way to use my fountain pens and my different fountain pen inks. I try to use a different ink for each month, and then I rotate which pen I use so that they all get used. This last notebook is my long form journal. Sometimes I do get in a mood to write a little bit more, or I need to process some more emotions or something than what my planner and 5-year Techo can handle. And so I use a smaller journal for that. I'm not sure what I'm telling you here. I think I'm talking about the leather notebook. The leather cover came from an Etsy studio called Leather My Studio, I believe. I will link them down below. But I've used them 3 times now. I bought this first journal cover in 2020 and really loved it. It's an olive green. It's really soft. The hand stitching was well done. And the only thing is I cut off the pencil holder thing because it gets in the way, and I also like to keep that leather as a fidget toy basically. But I bought this one first, and then I bought the one for my 5-year Techo, and then I bought the one for my Wonderland222. So definitely a repeat customer of hers. I'm also thinking that I'm explaining that the use for this journal is I'm just going to buy another Stalogy and put it in there. And instead of just using it as a long form journal, I also plan to use it as a tarot journal too, to get into that habit. I currently use it occasionally for meditation, but I would like to get into it more for meditation and reflection. And so that's the plan for this journal. And so I think that's it. And I am not sure what else I am telling you here. There's no cues for me. So we're about to move on to the time lapse, I believe. So I hope you enjoy that, and thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching this long if you have. If you like it here, stick around, hit notifications, leave a comment, all that good stuff. And I will see you next Sunday. Bye.